he has a character of God. Amen. Azariah, Jehovah has helped. So these were the names that their parents gave them. So they made sure that the center of attraction of their home was who? Who was the center of attraction of their home? Jesus, God. God was the center of attraction of the home. The home is a place where the heavenly angels want to be and the demonic spirits are uncomfortable to be. That's the way our home should be. It should be a place where the devil he got a headache. He's uncomfortable. You talking about God in the house? Y'all talk about him all day long. Don't you get tired of it? Like, no. Praise the Lord. That's the kind of house that they were raised in. And that's the kind of house that we must have for our people, our children, where God is the center of truth. God is the center of attraction. The law and the testimony is the center of everything. But notice here. So even though Nebuchadnezzar tried to change their names, he cannot change their character. He named them after Babylonian gods. Daniel, Belshazzar, means the prince of Baal. Hananiah, Shadrach, changed it to Shadrach, means a servant of sin. Actually, technically, the moon god. Meshach, which her name was Michelle, but Meshach, who is what Aku is. Remember, Michelle meant who one is like God. Here he's saying you like this God Aku. And then you had Azariah. He changed his name to Abednego, meaning he's a servant, a nego. Just like Nebuchadnezzar, his name was Nebuchadnezzar because he was a servant, or supposed to be the king of who? Nebo. That's why it's Nebuchadnezzar. All right, so we got that. So even though he tried to change their name, he could not change their character. Now, let's get to the rest of the story. Let's finish it up. Now, what was the dietary requirements appointed by the king of all those selected for the special 3-year Babylonian training? Let's look at verse 5. So just keep your finger in Daniel chapter 1. And the king appointed, I want you to catch that, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and that meat in that particular context just means food, all right? The king's food and wine, and this wine is alcoholic fermented wine, which he drank. So nourishing them 3 years, at the end thereof, they might stand before the king. Now, I can imagine many of the captives of Judah was excited. He said, man, this is going to be great. Matter of fact, this was the menu of the king's food was just the envy of all Babylon. Because Nebuchadnezzar only dealt with the best of the best. But we find here, what was Daniel's response, though? When he heard the king's dietary requirements, did he get all excited? What did he do? Daniel 1:8. But Daniel did what? Purpose in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Understand, he purposed in his house because it was already purposed. Before he even got there, purpose means to set or appoint. He already appointed in his heart. It was already etched in his character that when the time came in which he can compromise God's truth, God says, no, I'm not going to, Daniel said, I'm not going to compromise. But note this here. See, the king appointed them to eat his provision. But Daniel appointed in his heart that he's not going to eat to provision. And understand this. When you are following the commandments of God rather than the commandments of man, it's not rebellion. It is standing firm on the truth. Because anything that violates the word of God, I have to stand on what thus saith the Lord. So he said, I'm not going to defile myself. And it says here, remember, it says he purposed in his what? Heart. Understand character. And the center of character is your heart. Your heart is a combination of your thoughts and your feelings. You ever remember somebody said, man, he ran with all his heart. It's not just talking about his thinking part of it. It's his feelings. He said, I can do it. I can do it. I feel good. I'm going to get it done. See, that was heart. He said a purpose in his heart. It wasn't just his intellectual thinking. It was his feelings that actually affected his behavior and his habits, which formed the character. Psalms 112, 7 and 8. This is the type of character we must have, and this is what they had. And he shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is what? Fixed. He's not afraid what other people say they're going to do. He ain't afraid of their threats. He said his heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. I can imagine even before, because he already heard the command. And the young people are talking among themselves. And I can hear Daniel, Hananiah, and Mishael say, man, we're not going to eat. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm following God's way. I'm not eating of the king's meat. And then I can say, man, come on, Daniel. Man, what, man, you know what's going to happen? Man, you can lose your life. Come on now. But he said his heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. His heart is established. He shall not be afraid until he sees his desire upon his enemies. Matter of fact, I'd imagine they recited that to their friends. To the other princes that's there, other captives, that I am not doing it, period. So what you going to say? Well, how you going to get it done, Daniel? Come on, man. How you going to, just going to ask them? You're going to ask the king? You're going to ask the people? You think they're going to actually grant your request? Not to eat of the king's meat? Man, you're not going to. Come on, man. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Opportunity, man. We're captive now. We can be. Come on. Daniel knew. In his heart, he knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that chicken or that pig, which is already unclean anyway, or all the other foods, he knew that they laid it on the altar in Babylon, laid it before the king, laid it for the sun god, laid it before them and did a sacrifice, and then served it in the king's menu. He knew they were dedicated on the altars of false gods of Babylon. He knew that. He knew. But understand this, because this is extremely important. Even a mere pretense of eating the food or drinking the wine would be a denial of their faith. Even pretending, even though he said, he's going to sit there at the table. God said, that's not enough. Because now you're kind of faking it. You're trying to he knew even a pretense to do this would be an array himself with heathenism and to dishonor the principle of the law of God. There are times when you don't have a choice but to stand. You have to. You got to speak it out. And this was what Daniel was faced with. He knew that many of the foods that the Babylonians prepared were not according to the health laws of God. He knew that they didn't have a prohibition on unclean meat, such as pigs, as the Bible reveals in Leviticus 1 and 14. See, those are health laws, not ceremonial laws. We need to understand that, everybody. Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 still applies today. We're not to eat these things because these things are the garbage disposals of the land. The pig is. That's why we don't eat it. And this is the cockroach of the sea. That's what they're designed to do. But he knew that the wine that's going to benumb the mind. He knew that everything that goes into the mouth can benumb, that can confuse the mind. He understood 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do what? Do some to the glory of God, do all to the glory of God. Even in your eating and drinking, he understood that. We got to understand that as Christians today. Even when I place in my mouth, he said eating or drinking. Why did he say eating or drinking? You do that every day, don't you? So what you put in your mouth should glorify God. Simple question. Who made the water? God did. Who made the vodka? Satan did. Who made the soda? Satan did. So if I'm drinking the soda, I'm drinking the who? Come on now. See, y'all like that vodka. Y'all like, yeah, Satan made the vodka. Who made the soda? Well, Satan did. He inspired it. God didn't do it. It caused your teeth to get brittle, your bones to get brittle. It caused diabetes. It caused obesity. And the list goes on and on and on. Does God's water do that? No. God made water for you. So let's just be real. So whatever I eat, so he already knew. If I went and ate the pig, he knew I'm going to defile myself. And Daniel was not going to risk that. 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17, know ye not that ye are the temple of God and the Spirit of God that dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of God, if any man defile, he understood it. If any man corrupt the temple of God. Our temples, what's inside this temple is our brain, right? And God says, that you are a temple of God. It's holy, which temple ye are. So whatever affects this body will affect the brain. We got to understand that. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. What? Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not of your own? Did you make your body? Is it yours? God said, no. He said, for ye are bought with a price. Therefore do what? Glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. He qualified it because everybody said, well, he's just talking about the spirit. No, he said your body and your what? Spirit, which are God. So the physical body that we're in right now, God says, treat it to the glory of God. You don't treat it any type of way. Understand, anything that goes into the mouth, that's digested into the stomach, goes through the small intestines, goes into the villi in the small intestines, it goes to the bloodstream, it has a direct impact on the brain because it goes into your bloodstream. Remember, what you eat makes up your blood. Your blood is your life, because there's life in the blood. And everything that goes into your blood, either good or bad, will have an impact. Understand that. That's the reason why every single person should know what's going into your mouth. And it's amazing to me, those who are taking the pharmaceuticals, the pharmakia of the Babylonian system, they take their drug and have no clue what it's doing to their body. They only believe the advertise. Oh, it's supposed to lower this. Oh, it's supposed to lower that. Oh, it's supposed to do this. But you don't understand the mechanism of action. You have no clue. And we wonder why they call them side effects. It ain't side effects. They're direct effects. Understand it. And every single one affects the brain. Why? Because it all goes through the whole system. Let me get through this. What's that say there? The wrong eating and drinking will bring about what? The wrong thinking and acting. Everybody say it again. The wrong eating or drinking will bring about the wrong thinking and acting. In other words, it will have a direct effect on your character. So when it comes to character formation, we can't just put away the diet part, because we see that here in Daniel. Daniel said, I'm not going to corrupt myself, because if I corrupt myself with a king's meat, it's going to corrupt my character. And I can't afford that, because I want to eat at the King of Kings and Lord of Lords tables. Who want to do that? So are you willing to trade in the foods of this world for eating at the King of Kings tables? Let's look at this. The health of the body is to be regarded as essential for the growth and grace and requirements of an even temper. If the stomach is not properly cared for, the formation of the upright moral character would be hindered. Erroneous eating and drinking result in erroneous thinking and acting. That comes from book Counsels on Diets and Foods. So Babylon, what's the word Babylon mean again, everybody? Confusion. And this whole system, this worldly system, is designed by Babylon. That's the reason why today, all our meat, all of it, all our flesh, all of it is corrupted, all of it. Yes, there was a time that, yes, pigs were just corrupted. It just naturally, God says stay away from it. But today it's corrupted. Why is it so corrupted? Men are greedy. They're getting greedier and greedier and greedier. Don't you know cows were never designed to eat corn? And not only are they giving a bunch of corn, they're giving a bunch of antibiotics, and you eat it and it's going in you. They're giving all types of drugs. Don't you know, again, a chicken that's not supposed to grow up, in a few weeks? They start pumping it up, and this chicken is so big can barely walk in his own feces. Why? Because we want to continue to consume the diet of Babylon that's confusing us. What's that? That's right. We already know the lobster's unclean, the crab's unclean, all those things. But Babylon pumps it up. Babylon gives us these sugary drinks. Babylon gives us all these foods, these fast foods, and has not only does everything's corrupt, but then they put chemicals inside the foods, especially the processed foods. There's chemicals there. The chemicals there are so you can see the colors, because we're attracted to the colors. They put it there to preserve it. And we're putting those chemicals after chemical, it's salt after salt for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to get sick. And when we get sick in a Babylonian system of confusion, they send you to a Babylonian hospital with a Babylonian doctor who's going to give you a Babylonian prescription, which is going to continue to poison the body. When God has a way of healing for his people in his last days, to keep the mind clean and pure. That's why God's given the truth. Don't you know, right, even right now, this is just an example. There's a major opioid crises. Major opioid crises. Small towns are being affected by this opioid. It's so bad, the city of New York is suing the makers of these opioids. Because why? This is a very powerful and addictive drug. And what they're doing to people in hospitals today, they are putting them on a lot of opioids. You come with a broken arm, opioid. You hurt a little bit, opioid. And they wonder why so many people are so hooked on opioids. Then that leads them to heroin. It's a major crisis even today. Another example, this is flu season, right? See, a lot of people take these drugs and they go, I'm going to tell you, the hospital does not have a cure for your flu. I'm going to tell you what it is. Some of you already know. What is it? Lemons. Blending up two lemons, a whole onion, garlic, then honey, right? I miss anything? Huh? You can throw a little turmeric in there, blend it all up, and take a tablespoon. That wipes out your flu. Then follow God's plan. That wipes out your flu. They got this drug called Thermoflu. It does nothing to your flu. It gives you, and it's so bad now, they're finding out, especially with young people, it's causing hallucinations. See, a lot of these drugs, you don't understand it. Some, if you do some study, I don't have time because time is ticking away. These drugs are repackaged as a drug for heart disease or whatever, but they're actually a psychotic drug. I believe this is a psychotic drug because it messes up, especially young people, it messes up their mind. They start seeing things, stuff start crawling on them and everything else. One person who took it, they're damaged for life just to get rid of the flu when God has a way to get rid of the flu. That's not going to damage the body. How can poison heal? Poison can't heal. Poison kills. It's really that simple. When God delivered his people out of Egypt in the promised land, what kind of dietary plan did he appoint his people? Because where are we going? We're going to the Canaan land, right? So what kind of diet did God appoint his people? It's a new start. It's the same plan that we even advocate. He said, well, I'm going to change your attitude. I'm going to change your eating. You used to eat all the flesh pots in Egypt. I'm going to change all that because I want to change your character. You're going to be the best exercising program ever known. You're going to be walking all in this desert. Then he said, water. But where are we going to get our water? Man, I'm God. I can bring your water out of rock. Come on. Then he says sunshine. Sunshine. You get all types of sunshine and vitamin D out there in the desert. Then temperance. He said, I'm going to show you about self-control. Staying away from the stuff you know is going to kill you and eating the things you know is going to heal you. Air. Did they get plenty of air out there? Yes. Plenty of air. Rest. He told them about rest. And he showed them about the Sabbath rest. Every seventh day rest from all your labor. And then he taught them about how to trust in God. That's that T right there. And then he said, now you're going to tell somebody else because that's your purpose. That's the plan that God had the children of Israel on. And that's the plan he has us on today. Because we're going into the Canaan land. Because one thing you notice here, God got rid of all their flesh when they got out there. I'm telling you, he's given us a parallel. Because we're traveling, because we're on that border. He's given us a parallel. Yes, there was a time he allowed meat eating from Noah, but now, because remember, they were not supposed to eat the fat or the blood or the fat. And I know many people today, especially Christians, they still eat the blood and the fat. But God is telling us, he's given us a standard. Because what do we know? How do we know they didn't eat meat? Because they complained about it. That's how you know they didn't eat meat. They complained about it. They're out there. Let me see. They're out there just only a few months. I believe they're out there for 1 month, 15 days. That's it. They start complaining. I want my meat. I want my meat. Now at this point, notice they didn't eat manna. So what were they eating before? They weren't eating dirt. So they weren't eating manna. They weren't eating flesh. What do you think they were eating? Fruits, nuts, grains, and veggies. God supplied their need, even though they probably took some of that out of Egypt. But I don't know about it. I don't know some of the, banana and some other things that's fresh. It don't last for 45 days. They start to get spoiled. So God was obviously supplying their need on a daily basis, giving them a variety of food among 1 million people or more. He's supplying them with all the fruits, nuts, grains, and veggies, and not they're getting all that, but they start complaining. We want our flesh. Look at that, verse 2 and 3. Got to wrap it up. Verse 2 and 3. The whole congregation of the children of Israel, what did they do? Murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness, and the children of Israel said unto them, would to God we have died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt when we sat by the flesh pots. What? You mean you would rather die? You rather die than right here if you don't get no flesh? That's basically what they're saying. And when we did eat bread to the full, for ye have brought us out forth in the wilderness to kill this whole congregation with hunger. See that? Don't you have to remind you of some people today? I gotta have my flesh. I gotta have it. Man, talking about giving up cheese, man. I gotta eat my cheese. Don't that sound like us today? They're no different than what we are today. They'd rather die. They said, Lord, you brought us out here to die. He took them from slavery, man. You were in slavery. You were in slavery, and I freed you. But he says, okay. What was God's response? Verse 4. What was God's response? And then the Lord Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may what? Prove them whether they will walk in my way or no. He said, now, before you had a variety of fruits, nuts, grains, and veggies. I was providing for you. But now I'm going to give you everything you need in that one little wafer. That's what it was. A coriander seed, actually. That's what it was. It looked like a little coriander seed. Was that? Yeah, it wasn't a wafer. They could make it into wafers. And it tasted like oil and honey mixed together. But they said that one little coriander seed, that's it. You get it in the morning, and when the sun comes up, it's going to melt away. But he said, no, but I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to give you one night. You can eat some flesh. So he gave them quail. He gave them some flesh that evening. But he said, after that, it's manna. It's manna. He didn't say, I'm going to continue to give you flesh. He said, I'm giving you manna. Because what did God want to do? He wanted to change the thinking. And he knew he wanted to take away any animal propensities. Because remember, it's life in the blood. So he wanted to take away any propensities. Animalistic. If I could eat meat. Exodus 16, verse 8. Let's look at this. Because God is preparing us for heaven, everybody. So, and Moses said, and this shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. Talking about the manna. For the Lord hath heard your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? What are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against who? The Lord. And we have to remember that when God is convicting us, he's making it very clear to us. When we start complaining, we already canceled out our blessing. We canceled out our faith. But God is revealing to us, we're not murmuring against the messenger. We're not murmuring against in this case, Moses. He said, you're murmuring against God. Because this is God's plan. It ain't my plan. We're going to heavenly Canaan. We got to prepare ourselves not only just mentally, spiritually, but our physical bodies, even though God's going to give us new bodies. But again, remember, everything we place in his mouth is going to have an effect on his brain. Everything. And there's so many chemicals in our food today, so many. So God is calling us back to what? The original plan, the natural plan of what? Fruits, nuts, grains, and veggies. Who made the pineapple? God did. Think about all the fruits and grains and veggies in God's kingdom. It's so many you can't even name them. But in our society today, especially here in North Carolina, what we like to eat the most? What North Carolinians like to eat? What they love to eat almost every day? And what is it? What does North Carolinians love to eat? Pork. But what they like to eat almost every single day? There you go. You said it. Say it. Come on, say it. You know it's chicken. Baked chicken, fried chicken. We got this the chicken capital of the world. We love chicken. That's no variety. That's no variety. But God has all variety of beans and lower your cholesterol, clean out your arteries. He has all types of variety of vegetables, all variety of nuts. There's so many things. And then what you can do, you've learned, some of y'all come to a cooking class, we show you how to put it all together, make macaroni and cheese, how to make all the different things. We even made turkey one year. Yes, we did. Turkey. But all made of fruits, nuts, grains, and veggies. Amen. So God has a way in his original plan. Now, the reason why the majority of professed Christians reject this message, we got some sick people in church, don't we? A whole lot. Because they still are murmuring with that same attitude that Israel had. God is saying, you need to make a change. We're on our way to the Canaan land. It reveals that character is not fixed on Jesus and his kingdom. That's revealing because we're allowing the flesh to have control over what God is revealing to us. Now, who needs to have control? The spirit or the flesh? The flesh can't have control. So it reveals to us if I'm rejecting this and it's clear to me. It's clear. You can just look at it. Say, okay, Lord, I have to submit. But if I don't submit, I'm saying, wait a minute. I'm letting my flesh control. So the thing is, in these last days, we cannot allow our taste buds to be the ones that control us. Now, you good. Sister Davis is good because that's what I'm about to talk about next. I'm telling you, you should see the sermon before y'all do. You hitting it because you're thinking in that's the right spirit, right? Because that's what thing that happened next. What happened to many Israelites when they complained again for the flesh? About 1 year later, in Numbers chapter 11. 1 year, about 1 year later. See, he gave us a flesh, then gave them the manna, but this time he said, okay, this is his total rebellion. They said, why we want our flesh. Now, the interesting thing about this story, when you read the first few verses of chapter 11, there was actually the people were complaining, and God sent fire down and burned many of them up. But not too long after that, it could have been the next day, I don't know, it doesn't give us the exact time period, but they were complaining. The mixed multitude that's among them, plus the Israelites, were complaining about. Now, the interesting thing, I don't have really had time, my time is ticking. The interesting thing when they complained about it, they said, why can't we have our flesh pots back in Egypt? And then they said, oh,